have already seen how to construct bar graph and histogram. Now, frequency polygon is another visual way of representing quantitative data and its frequency. So, frequency polygon is another graphical representation of data. We can draw frequency polygon in two different ways. First one is, we need to draw the histogram first, then take the midpoint of upper side of these rectangles. So mark the midpoint of these rectangles, then join those midpoints using the line segment. So this is one way of drawing frequency polygon. The second method is that if the classes are given and the frequency will be given, class intervals and frequency will be given, you need to find out the class mark or midpoint of the class interval. So how will you find the midpoint of the class interval? Upper limit plus lower limit divided by 2. That is 140 plus 150 divided by 2 is 145. So mark those class marks on the x-axis and the frequency along the y-axis, and then you plot the points, join those points, we will get the frequency polygon. So these are the two methods of two ways to draw frequency polygon. One, you will draw the histogram, then you will mark the midpoint of upper side of those rectangles and you will join using the line segment. Second one is, you need to find out class mark. Class mark is nothing but midpoint of the class interval. Upper limit plus lower limit divided by 2 will give you the class mark. You mark the class mark along the x-axis and the frequency along the y-axis. Then you plot the point. You can see this is 145, 145.5. Again this one will be 155.10. You plot those points, join those points using straight line, we will get frequency polygon. Frequency polygons are used when the data is continuous and very large. It is very useful comparing two different sets of data of same nature. For example, so here we can see the marks of the students of section A as well as section B on the same frequency polygon graph, and we can compare their performance of these two sections. I can say that students of section A has scored better than students of section B. We can see that from this graph we can see that most of the students in section A, they have scored good marks or marks more than 25, whereas most of the students in section B, they have scored marks which is less than 25. So for comparing, we can use frequency polygon. So let's see how to draw the frequency polygon. For that, first we need to draw the histogram. So I have marked the class intervals on x-axis and the frequency on y-axis. Here the class intervals are continuous. You can see 140 to 150, 150 to 160. The upper limit and lower limit of the two consecutive class intervals are same. So it is continuous. And also we can see that the class size is also uniform. That is 140 to 150 class size is 10, 150 to 160 class size is 10. So in all the class interval, class size is 10. So we'll have a rectangles. When you draw the histogram, we'll have a rectangles of uniform width. So first 140 to 150, it is 5. So we'll draw that 140 to 150, it is 5. Again 150 to 160, it is 10. So 10. So I have completed the histogram. Now we need to mark the midpoints of the upper side of these rectangles. So when I mark the midpoints of upper side of these rectangles, first we will mark, then we will join these points. It has to be joined using the scale. It should be a straight line between these points. And we know that polygon means something which is called as a closed figure, but this is not a closed figure. So to make it the closed figure, you have to join, suppose this point is A and this point is D, you have to join the point A to the midpoint of the preceding class interval. Same way, Here you have to join the point D to the midpoint of the succeeding class interval. So now you got a perfect frequency polygon. So there are two different ways. First way is we need to draw the histogram. After that we need to mark the midpoints, join those midpoints, and we'll get a frequency polygon. Now without drawing histogram, you can draw the frequency polygon. For that, first step is we need to find out class mark. And we know that class mark is nothing but upper limit plus lower limit divided by 2. So 140 plus 155 divided by 2 is 145. The same way, the class mark for the remaining classes are 155, 165, 175, 185 and 195. Now we need to mark class mark on x-axis and the frequency on y-axis. Now we will plot the points. 145, it is 5. So 5 we need to mark. 145, it is 5. Again 155, the corresponding frequency is 10. 165, the corresponding frequency is 20. 175, the corresponding frequency is 9. 185, it is 6. And finally 195, it is 2. Now we need to join these points using the straight line. So when you join these points, you got like this. Again it should be a closed curve. So we need to join this point A to the midpoint of the preceding class interval. So I will join it here, and in the same way this also has to be joined to the midpoint of the succeeding class interval. This is the second method of drawing the frequency polygon. So we have seen two different ways of drawing frequency polygon, one with histogram and one without histogram. So thank you for watching my video.